What you got there, Ted?
Dungeon Master's Guide, picking up magic items for my next character.
Oh, what are you playing?
Playing a rogue.
Oh, what items did you go with?
Cloak of Elven kind.
Well, I guess when Nerdarchy Ted gets back, we'll discuss a rogue's guide to D&D magic items. Welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds. I'm Nerdarchy Dave, and as usual, I'm hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy Ted.
You won't need a crystal ball to get your next Nerdarchy fix if you hit that subscribe button.
And you won't miss a single video if you attune to that notification bell.
Alright, before we jump into our picks for magic items and a little bit of a discussion about rogues and magic items in general, let's take a moment to thank our sponsor. They have a Kickstarter going on right now. RuneSmith is putting out Stibble's Codex of Companions.
So this is a great looking book. I'm very excited for it. It's got over 70 stat blocks for low CR monsters that are going to be perfect for new familiars and animal companions for your character classes. But that's not all. You also are going to get access to a loyalty system so that if you strengthen your bond between you and your companion, there are going to be perks and things to make your companions better. But they're still not done. There's going to be new feats. There's going to be new spells. But wait, there's more! There's also going to be a series of high-quality miniatures linked for this. This is something that I'm super excited for. My kids are going to, kind of go goo-goo and gaga all over it. So, very excited to see this.
Link down in the description below. So, Ted, what does a rogue look for in a magic item?
Well, rogue is one of those classes that can be played in a variety of different ways. But, at its core, a rogue is someone who is typically going to be stealthy, is skill heavy, and deals out a lot of damage. But they're, a little bit squishier. So anything that's going to enhance any of those things, I think is what a rogue would be looking for.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I've always looked at the rogue and from 3rd edition on as your kind of expert class. No matter what it is. I mean, they tend to be stealthy, but they don't actually have to be. But they're always experts in whatever they decide to be like their area of expertise. Not just the ability, but just in general, how you build your character. And then they've always had this weird kind of clunky combat ability for sneak attack slapped on top of it. But yeah, so anything that enhances those abilities is going to make you more effective as a rogue. So I guess, that's what we're going to look at when it comes to magic items. And also, like, one of the things that came to mind when we decided to do this video, someone on Facebook, I believe, had requested us to do a video of this nature. So that got me thinking of famous rogues, and like one popped into mind immediately, and intrinsically they were linked to a magic item, and that's going back to The Hobbit. Bilbo Baggins, when he finds the One Ring, which is essentially a Ring of Invisibility plus a little bit.
Right. So obviously, invisibility is a super great thing for a rogue to be able to have, regardless of what type of rogue you're winding up playing. If you want to play the investigator type, okay, you can be able to observe a location undetected while you're invisible. If you're trying to do shady and nefarious things, being invisible is going to be super helpful.
And so for that reason, the Ring of Invisibility actually made it onto our list. And basically, it's you spend an action once you've attuned to this item, and you can just turn invisible. If you do anything that violates the invisibility spell, you become visible again until you use another action to go back to being invisible. So it's basically unlimited invisibility.
But, along the same lines, if you want to do some of those things that do kind of go against the invisibility spell, you could also use the Cloak of Invisibility, which that has a set duration, that it keeps track of, but you can use it, essentially as rounds of greater invisibility.
Yeah, pretty much, making attacks and casting spells does not ruin your invisibility when you have it on. You just have to, keep track of the amount of time you've used it. It works. It basically tracks in 1 minute increments up to 2 hours. That's 120 minutes. If you're purely talking about combat type stuff, the Cloak of Invisibility is far superior to the Ring. But the Ring overall has more versatility because you can use it all day, every day. Doesn't matter.
So we talked about, the rogue being stealthy on average. Again, you don't have to be. And, there are certainly ways to be the best at being stealthy. And that's going to start off with the Cloak of Elven kind.
Yeah, Cloak of Elven kind, it requires attunement, but you put the hood up and it activates it. You now have advantage on stealth checks. You're a rogue. If this is what your expertise skill, you're already really good at it. But it's not just that. People have disadvantage to perceive you. So this, in some ways, this is almost better than invisibility. It is so hard to see you. And God forbid someone throws a pass without trace on you. Like you might as well be invisible, but there's no magic involved for most of it at this point. So it's just based off of your skill. So it's not like someone could just cast Detect Invisibility and find you. No, because you're not invisible. You're just really good at hiding.
So advantage with expertise, and they have disadvantage. They would have to be someone who has observant and has expertise themselves to really have
a chance.
To have a chance. So it's really crazy.
But that's not our only item of Elven kind. We also have boots that do not require attunement.
And that's just going to confer advantage. Again, if we're already, taking expertise, getting advantage, with expertise, again, is super awesome. It's not offering them disadvantage. And you're also not having to use your attunement slot, so you could save it for one of these other items.
So next up, this item is a ton of fun. And this is going more for characters that are more deceptive than stealthy. And that's a Ring of Mind Shielding. Basically, it makes your mind impervious to being read. They can't detect thoughts on you. They can only communicate with you telepathically if you allow it. You can make the ring go invisible on your finger if you choose. This item does require attunement. And there's also a very fun, neat caveat to this item.
So if you die, your mind gets put into the ring. So you could take and give this item out as, if you're the DM, and you could have either side of the coin. Let's put a super awesome paladin in there who every time the rogue does something shady, you really shouldn't be doing that. Talk to them constantly. Try to encourage them to be a better person. Or you could go completely opposite, and you could put someone, super evil into here, and whenever they're doing, good stuff, it's like, oh, come on, really, again?
Or egging them on to greater and greater acts of evil. And the way that ability works, if you die with the ring on, your soul can pass on to the afterlife, or it goes into the ring, your choice. And, for whatever reason, the ring could already be inhabited, like Ted said, and it could offer up some really great role-playing opportunities. But even if it's not inhabited, the ring could then be absorbed by one of the players later on in the game, and maybe it's a way for them to kind of live on a little bit and roleplay through the ring while they're waiting to maybe try and get their body back or something.
There's so many role-playing things that you could do with this. It just sparks the imagination in me and makes me want to have this whole as a major quest item. And, maybe you've got one that's more powerful and does other things, and maybe the villain of the campaign is in here and you let him out and cause all this chaos. And yeah, fun. So next up, we're looking at Mithril Armor. This is medium armor, which rogues are going to be able to wear. And there is no disadvantage on stealth checks. It does not require attunement. What more needs to be said?
It's a win-win. And, there is another way of doing it. You can get the same benefits with the feat, but in this way, we don't have to spend that resource on using it. We can just use the item, so it's much better, in my opinion. Next up, we have the Hat of Disguise. It's a great item, great utility. It is requires attunement, and it's going to allow you to cast Disguise Self basically at will.
I love this item. For low-level games, this is one of my favorite items to be able to have. If you're playing the more interactive rogue, this is a way for you to go and socialize with people outside of your normal form. If you want to break in somewhere, you can do so inside of a disguise. And, oh no, I saw Fred, breaking into your house. Well, Fred was with me. How is that possible? Well, you're off scot-free because it wasn't you doing it. It was somebody else. There's just so many different ways that you can use this. I've played it in a game where I've just kept copying other players in the adventuring party, having a blast. There's no end of fun with this.
Get caught picking pockets, duck into a crowd, change how you look. You can hide in plain sight very easily.
So next up is the Weapon of Warning. This is a really great item. specifically if you want to, be an assassin, because the core ability of this is going to give you advantage on initiative checks, and the assassin really, really, really wants to go first. But the caveat is while you have this, your adventuring party, the people with you and yourself, can't be surprised. So if you're a scout, you can go out there and be looking around, and hey, there's a thing over there. You're not going to lose that initiative round of something getting you. Really, really good for that point as well.
Yeah, it's excellent for the rogue that does not want to be caught off guard. So next up we have Gloves of Thievery. I mean, rogue is essentially a thief. It's right in the name. And what it does is it gives you a flat +5 bonus to either your sleight of hand checks or your open lock checks. Does not require attunement. What rogue in their right mind wouldn't want to just have their hands on these, or these on their hands, I should say.
Yeah, there's nothing to be said, further about that. It's just awesome. So next up, we're looking at Ring of Evasion.
Ring of Evasion gives you charges. You spend a charge, and you automatically pass the dexterity save that you just failed. That is really sweet when you are a character that already has evasion. I think we're going to find this one on the monk list as well. But a rogue has evasion. If you fail your saving throw, you take half damage. If you make it, you take none. So if you decide you really want to pass the saving throw and you roll poorly, you can just choose to pass by expending a charge. So it's a great item to have as a backup. The only downside is it is an attunement.
All right, so our final item on this list is for, the rogue that doesn't want to be found. And that is going to be the Amulet of Proof against detection and location.
If you're a rogue and you are using magical means to disguise or hide yourself, this is going to be essential, and it's going to be key because it protects you from divination magic. It makes it so people aren't going to be able to use magic to figure out where you are, and what you're using to hide or disguise yourself.
So obviously, this is a powerful item. It's going to require attunement. This is an item that's going to be given out or gotten at a higher level. But the things that are going to find you with magic, you really don't want them to find you. So it's super helpful. So if you got one of these while you're sneaking into the villain's lair to find his secret weakness, super helpful.
One of the most powerful abilities in the game for detection is True Sight, and it would even shut that down.
That's pretty nice. If you want to have another video of us talking about rogues, you can check out this video over here. It's a Rogue's Guide to Feats for 5e.
If you want more magic items for your 5e D&D game, we've been known to make them over on our Patreon.
We create new products for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons every month, and there's always new magic items. We do weekly live chats, monthly giveaways, and more.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.